I think it's time to officially make our prediction. As I mentioned earlier, you have been on the Washington train all season long. You've been in the camp of Penix Jr., of Kalen DeBoer. Not that I haven't, but I've recognized the talent, obviously picked some award winners out of that group, but I never thought that they would be here playing for a national championship. They're 4.5 point dogs in Houston, Texas against the Michigan Wolverines, the top team in the country. Can your Huskies go a perfect 15-0 and claim their first national title since 91?
Mitch, the Huskies can and they will claim their first national title since 1991. I've been on them all year. I'm not going to abandon. I know I tried to abandon them in the Sugar Bowl, but I'm not going to abandon them now in the biggest game of the year. I'm sorry. I have paid my penance. I'm back on the train, baby. Let's go Huskies. I think this is going to be a fascinating game. I don't even know what score to predict, and I'm picking mostly on just vibes of Washington right now, and just a team that I've really fallen in love with this year as I've gotten to watch them closer. And I will say, I think that there's one, maybe two paths to victory for Washington. Like the offense has to be clicking, and they have to get some big stops on defense. Michigan, I think, has more ways to win this game. So if you're looking at betting the money line, definitely safer bet is on Michigan. I just think at some point we have to admit that Washington's passing attack is historically great. And they've made really solid defenses look silly all season long for stretches of games. I'm going with the Huskies. I'm going to go to the tune of 31-28 in a thriller, maybe a walk-off field goal, but it's a close one all the way through. 31-28 Washington.
Certainly agree. I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. When you talk to college football coaches from around the country, most of them are surprised that Washington is a dog, certainly by nearly 5 points, considering both of these teams have found ways to continue to win, continue to beat very, very good opponents, albeit by doing it in different fashions. I also agree. I think Washington has more paths to victory. I think the Michigan path to victory is the far simpler one. The best secondary in the country. You force a couple turnovers, you hand it to your running backs, and you run it against a very weak rushing defense. You take the air out of the ball, and you beat Washington to claim your first national championship since '97. That being said, I think Washington has the keys, has the tools to win this, and like you said, put this out of Michigan's reach more so than the Wolverines can do to the Huskies. There's not going to be a game where the Huskies are out of it because of their quick attack, right? And that big play offense. I do think one key area to watch is Dylan Johnson going to be healthy? He was obviously hurt on that last play from scrimmage for Washington.
And Muhammad, if their number one corner is out, that could be a big deal too.
Yep, it nearly cost them the game, going down due to that injury and stopping the clock. So Washington has to be healthy, and I think from what I had heard, again, we were recording this on a Thursday. From what I had heard, it seems like both might be able to suit up and play in that game. If all else is equal, I think Washington does have more tools to do this. And listen, Michael Penix's story is one for the record books, right? I mean, it is a Disney-like story. He's been hurt his entire career. He reunited with the guy that believed in him all the way back in Bloomington. Kalen DeBoer has engineered this offense along with Ryan Grubb around the talent that is Michael Penix Jr., a guy that I think should be the number 2 quarterback in this NFL class, ahead of guys like Drake May, certainly ahead of some of the other guys in the class like Spencer Rattler that you might find. I'm also going to roll with the Huskies. I think this is a 31-21 game. I think it's close, but Washington's able to score late to maybe push this to a 2-score game. Give me the Huskies. I'll ride with Washington. I want to see Washington win this game. I really love their story. I love the way that they've built this team. And frankly, I love the blue-collar mentality that coaching staff has brought to work every single day. you know me, I'm not a big drama guy, and while Michigan's us versus everybody story is cool that they've made it here, I've been a little tired of the constant storylines back and forth. I know that's going to ruffle some Michigan feathers. I know we have Go Blue listeners on this show, but if you're asking me to pick a team that I believe in, that I want to see win, I'm going to go with the Washington Huskies. I'll take them by 10.
Not so fast. Okay, here I am. I told you at the beginning of the video I'd be here, and I got something to say. These guys both picked Washington, and I respect what they know about football. They both know their ball. They get it. Guys, Michigan is going to win the national championship game. Take it to the bank. It's going to happen. Couple reasons why. Number one, I understand the argument that people make about Washington and them having a great passing attack and them being able to light the whole thing up. But guys, this didn't matter at any point in time during the season. It didn't matter, especially look at Ohio State. They played Ohio State, and Ohio State had a litany of great receivers. This did not make a difference. There's some guys on that back end that know what they're doing. They are extremely talented on that back end in coverage, and they are going to do a fantastic job in coverage against those receivers. Yes, Washington will get theirs. They will move the ball. But if you watch the way they played in that Rose Bowl, they took away Bama's pass attack completely. There was nothing downfield for Milroe. There wasn't anything downfield for anyone to look at. And so for me, when I look at this, I think that this is the first place where I'd be a little bit cautious in picking Washington here. Second thing, with these high-octane offenses like what Washington runs, rhythm is important. Being able to be on the field, getting a rhythm with your guys, it's very important. We've seen sometimes Washington kind of fall apart from that when the other team is able to kind of control the ball. What does Michigan do? I've said this time in and time out on this podcast all year. They lean on you. They run the football. They just kind of wear you down as time goes along. We all saw the Rose Bowl. We all saw what happened there. If it weren't for a couple of mistakes that Michigan had made, they would have won that game by a lot more than just the touchdown in overtime. And even as it was, I still felt like Michigan looked like the better team across the entire way in that game. So when you ask me, how does this game break down? J.J. McCarthy, he's got experience in the playoffs. He's been there before. Obviously, he didn't win his last couple, but he sure figured something out, kept his composure, and looked cool and collected in the Rose Bowl. When you break down the fact that you got Blake Corum, a man who will not be denied, you've got a real threat on that back end with Roman Wilson. You got all those guys doing their thing on the defense. That's my breaking point right there. Yes, Washington was very impressive up front against Texas, but Michigan brings a different level of defense to this game. Michigan brings a different type of pass rush than Texas brings. This is the best defense in the country. This is by far the best defense in the country that Washington will have played to this point. They are much better than Texas. They're better than anything that Oregon put out there. They're better than anything else they played in the Pac-12. And that is why the Michigan Wolverines will win the national championship game. Defense wins championships. There's NIL. There's new offenses. There's all this new stuff that has changed the game. But defense wins championships. That's what's going to happen. Michigan's going to win this one. It's not going to be easy. They're not going to pull away. They're not going to blitz Washington out of the stadium. They're not going to, this won't be like last year where the game was over at halftime. That's not what's going to happen. But what I can almost guarantee you, take it to the bank, is that Michigan's defense is going to clamp down on Washington to a certain degree. They're going to hold them down, and Washington will run out of magic finally in this last game of the season, because Michigan is the best team in the country, and they will continue to prove that in the national championship game. I put myself out here all year. Keeper of the hot takes. Look down here, okay? This is what I do. I put myself out there. A lot of people think Washington's kind of the sexy pick right now. I'm going to roll with Michigan. I'm going to roll with the Wolverines. Hail to the victors. I couldn't let those guys just sit there and pick Washington the whole way. This is what happens when you control the edit. You get to control what goes up on the screen. So you'll see them finish the podcast. They do mention the fact that I was going to take Michigan. I'm not going to take them by as much as they think so. I'm going to pick Michigan to win this game in the range of 27 to 24, 21. I think that, Washington will get 24, 21 points, but I'm going to take Michigan to score their 27, maybe even sneak up to 30. And they're going to win this game. I'll go 27-20 27-23. How about that? 27-23, your final score from Houston, Texas. Hail to the victors. Play the fight song. Let's go Wolverines. Had to do it. I had to do it to them.
Gracious him. How about